Um, One of the things I've also noticed about you of late is that you've taken on a pretty public role with the NIL collective in Happy Valley United. Why is that important to you?
I think what's funny about first off, I sat back and I watched when this whole thing rolled out, and as a guy who came to Penn State when I did and realized now the further and further away I got from what I did there, like the power of the Penn State community and what it can do, but also the catch 22 of like the tradition we've had and the way that Joe ran things and what that's done to our fan base in terms of how they look at things. But at the end of the day, in today's day and age, you have to keep up with the Joneses or you're going to get left behind in some capacity. And I truly believe there's a way to do it correctly where you still have respect and you're cognizant of what ultimately got the program to where it's at and you can still do it a creative way, but you have to play within the rules that are now out there with the teams that you are expecting your players and your program to beat. So for me, it's just been about trying to figure out the best way to bring that all together. And I think we have the right people to do it, but you just have to have those conversations and people have to be open to creative ideas and new ways of thinking and new ways of motivating people, right? Like it's not Penn State's not like the SEC where they're like, "Oh, sweet, we can cheat in public now and no one cares. Like we don't have to do it under the table with brown paper bags." You're going to get a lot of people who are going to write a bunch of checks and they don't really care. I think our fan base is a little bit more business savvy than that, and they want to feel that they're doing something and making an impact. So you have to create avenues for people to participate, but ultimately get the end goal done, which is be able to pay players and talented players to come into your programs. So for me, that's kind of what I've been trying to do from the jump is just bring creative ideas to appease all the masses. You're not going to make everyone happy, of course. It's just kind of how it works. But the best path forward in order for this program to continue to make steps towards being a national championship contender year in, year out.
We're the same-ish age, I think maybe a year apart. But that's relatively profound, and that's probably the second profound thing or time that you've been like, I see the bigger picture of Penn State here. I guess the main other time, of course, was when you committed to Penn State and stuck around and played. I, why? Like, what is it about Penn State for you that has you've always said yes to these opportunities? And it owes you nothing almost. Not that it doesn't, but
Well,
you know what I'm
it's
saying?
funny. Like, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying because I asked myself the same question. And I really don't have like a definitive answer, but I guess the best way I can put um it into it is like when you make it, and I think it really ultimately goes back to when I decided to come here and then playing through all of that craziness and trying to be like the one mast in the storm that wouldn't break. Like that's like every day, like no matter how my body felt, no matter how anything felt, like that's what I thought about was like, okay, like I started this path, like Charlie Mike, I got to finish this mission. Like I'm climbing Everest, like whatever I got to do step by step, inch by inch, was my thought process going through that entire thing. So it's just funny. Like I talked to Marty about this, Michael Marty a bunch. We've become very, very close. We were tight before, but even more so now afterwards. It's just like this place has a magnet, and I think it brings the best people back in times of need, in my opinion. And not saying that I'm that guy, but I just feel like I always want to throw my hat in the ring because this place still made a big impact on me, and it's going to continue to do so. And the relationships I have, and I mean, I met my wife, I have a kid, now, like there's something about that that makes it good. And I feel like I can bring something to the table. And that's probably the quarterback in me is like wanting to help. Like I want to help. I want to make this thing go. Like I want to continue to be a part of this. Um, to be a solution. You know what I mean?
That makes
And
sense.
not a weight that's dragging everything down.